PRASA Shosholoza Meyl from Johannesburg to Durban approaches. The excitement increasing for the maiden trip this Friday is palpable. An announcement was made regarding the commencement of long-distance mainline passenger services from Johannesburg to both Durban and Cape Town later this month. These services have been halted since 2021 due to operational and network infrastructure challenges. But to delve deeper into these developments, we are joined by PRASA Spokesperson Andiswa Makanda. Andiswa, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think let's talk firstly about dates that are in place for that maiden trip and what the bookings are looking like. Just paint a picture of where we are right now with that first trip.
No, definitely. Today, the first trip to Cape Town starts this morning at 10:30. People are expected to arrive so that the train can depart to Cape Town on Friday. We are resuming the services to Durban. These are weekly services for the December period. We are seeing people starting to come back to use the service for the December period.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit about what happened, right, for us to see services halted all the way since 2021 and how some of those issues were able to be resolved?
I think one of the biggest issues was the state of the infrastructure, the network itself. It was not conducive for the transportation of people, although Transnet could use the network to transport their goods. However, for our services and our operations, it was not conducive to transport people on the railway infrastructure because of theft and vandalism. We were challenged there. Also, we had issues with some of our coaches and locomotives in particular. We were battling to find reliable locomotives. As you know, that the state of our locomotives need urgent refurbishment, and so those are one of the biggest issues. Also, stations that were vandalized along the routes made it impossible for us to run services. So there's a lot of work that was gone into. I know that the RSR, which is the Railway Safety Regulator, also issued us a permit to transport services. 2021, we couldn't get the permit to transport people, but now we have the approval of the RSR because of the conditions that we have met to transport people. And so some of the work that has gone into returning these services. Last year, we were able to resume the Johannesburg to Musina and the Johannesburg to Queenstown services.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about then how you've secured that infrastructure damage that essentially led to the halting in the first place? Because when you talk about vandalism and theft being a main factor, that certainly is a challenge that's not going to go away. So how have you mitigated against that moving forward? Because what you certainly wouldn't want is passengers being stopped halfway through because there simply isn't a network for them to continue their route on.
Definitely. I think also it will be beneficial for the public to also know that the intercity network belongs to Transnet while we run within the metros. And so we are working with Transnet to try and secure the infrastructure and the network. And I believe that Transnet has their own plans in terms of mitigating against theft and vandalism. But as SOEs, we are part of a forum that's looking at how we can turn the tide against theft and vandalism. It is a continuing program, but we are increasing security to safeguard the network and the infrastructure.
Yeah, and to talk to us then about prices. I know that there's been a very interesting conversation happening on X, or what we formerly call Twitter. The comparison between other more, I suppose, affluent long-distance train traveling. An interesting discussion there. So let's talk prices and who exactly these trips are made for.
Definitely, we are offering a cheaper alternative mode of transport. To go to Cape Town one way, you're looking at 430 Rand for the economy class, and for the tourist class, you're looking at 690 Rand. That's one way. For Durban, you're looking at 170 Rand for the economy class, and for the tourist class, you're looking at paying 360 Rand one way. And definitely because, with inflation rising and the cost cost of traveling very expensive and escalating, we are saying that there is an alternative mode of transport that is available to the people who are really, really cash strapped and looking for a cheaper ways of getting home.
Yeah, I think that what we've done is in South Africa, we've found so many alternative ways of traveling, certainly between Johannesburg and Cape Town and Durban, that we might have even forgotten just the time frames that we're looking at. So what does a trip between Johannesburg and Cape Town look like in terms of time? How long would it take between Johannesburg and Durban and Johannesburg and Cape Town?
For Johannesburg to Cape Town, we're looking at 30 to 34 hours. And if I want me to put it into perspective, you look at the more affluent rail services, they take 2 to 3 days to get to Cape Town. I think what people need to appreciate and to know that we are running on manual authorization, which takes a bit of time adding to the duration of the trip. So that's why we're allocating 30 to 34 hours to incorporate and factor in those stopovers where we have to authorize manually because we don't have automatic signaling because of the theft and vandalism of the signaling equipment. And so for Joburg to Cape Town, you're looking at 30 to 34 hours. And Johannesburg to Durban, you're looking at 18 hours. Also, we have the speed restrictions that we need to adhere by.
Okay, fascinating. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Andiswa. We really do appreciate it. Andiswa Makanda there is, of course, spokesperson at PRASA, speaking to us about Shosholoza Meyl being back on track. So this December, you're able to book your train trip between Johannesburg and Cape Town, as well as Johannesburg and Durban at a very low price.